Think your favorite actresses are all glitz, glam, and red carpet perfection? Think again. Some of Hollywood's brightest stars have swapped their designer gowns for orange jumpsuits and not for a movie role. From high-profile scandals to shocking crimes, these women went from a list to inmate real fast. So what exactly landed them behind bars? And did they survive the downfall? Buckle up, because this is where fame meets felony. Abby Lee's wild ride. Abby Lee Miller, the woman who made Dance Moms a cultural phenomenon and turned elite-level dance into a battlefield of tears, tantrums, and technique. Her Abby Lee Dance Company wasn't just a studio. It was a pressure cooker for tiny prodigies and their overzealous parents, all while Abby barked orders like a Broadway general. But while she built stars on screen, behind the scenes, her finances were in a full-blown pirouette of disaster. In December 2010, she filed for bankruptcy, drowning in nearly $500,000 in tax debt. By 2015, the drama moved from the dance floor to the courtroom. Abby was charged with fraud, accused of hiding income, making false bankruptcy declarations, and conveniently forgetting to file her taxes. With 20 felony counts stacked against her, she faced up to 5 years behind bars and fines that could fund an entire season of dance competitions. After some legal pas-de-deux, she struck a plea deal and on May 9, 2017, was sentenced to 366 days in federal prison, a fate far less severe than others in similar legal trouble. On top of that, she was slapped with a $200,000 fine for her financial missteps. Abby did her time at Victorville Federal Correctional Institute in California before transitioning to a halfway house and ultimately securing an early release on May 25, 2018, thanks to good behavior. But was she humbled? Not exactly. In a sit-down with Good Morning America, she brushed it off as a joke, claiming the experience only made her stronger. Because if there's one thing Abby Lee Miller knows how to do, it's putting on a show, whether it's in the studio or behind bars. Amy Locane's tragic turn. Mention Amy Locane, and most people instantly recall her days on Melrose Place. But beyond that, she shared the screen with Hollywood heavyweights like Matt Damon and Brendan Fraser in School Ties, 1992, and even played Johnny Depp's love interest in Cry Baby. A promising career, absolutely. But in 2010, that promising career took a devastating detour. On June 27, 2010, Locane was speeding at 85 km/h in a 56 km/h zone when she crashed into another vehicle, killing a passenger on impact. When tested, her blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit. By December of that year, she was charged with aggravated manslaughter and assault by automobile. In November 2012, a jury found her guilty of vehicular homicide, and she was sentenced to 3 years in prison, a punishment many deemed shockingly light. She served her time at Edna Mayhem Correctional Facility for Women, walked free in June 2015, and likely thought it was all behind her. But the justice system wasn't done. In September 2020, after appeals and legal battles, a judge ruled her original sentence was too lenient. This time, she was slapped with an 8-year prison term, with at least 6 years behind bars before parole is even an option. A Hollywood star turned cautionary tale. Shannon Richardson's shocking scheme. Shannon Richardson had small roles in The Vampire Diaries and The Walking Dead, but her real claim to fame? Sending poison-laced letters to some of the most powerful men in America. Life wasn't exactly easy for Shannon. Her mom abandoned her when she was 2, and she was raised by her father. She made a modest living from bit parts on TV and married 3 times. But it was during her 3rd divorce that things took a wild turn. Furious at her soon-to-be ex, she decided to frame him for a crime that could have landed him in serious trouble. In May 2013, Shannon mailed ricin-laced letters to then New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, the director of Mayors Against Illegal Guns, and even then, President Barack Obama. After sending the letters, she called the cops and tried to pin it all on her husband. But the authorities weren't buying it. After a quick investigation, they arrested her on June 7, 2013. Facing federal charges, Shannon cut a plea deal in November 2013, admitting guilt in exchange for a reduced sentence. Even so, she was hit with an 18-year prison term, ordered to pay $367,222 in restitution, and required to undergo psychological treatment. She's currently serving time in a Texas federal prison, with a release date set for November 18, 2028. Until then, just counting the days. Remy Ma's Bronx Battle. Remy Ma, real name Reminisce Mackey, is more than just a rapper. She's a force. With roles in Queen of the South and as a host on P. Diddy's State of the Culture, she's proven her versatility beyond the mix. But let's be real, her claim to fame comes from bangers like Lean Back, All the Way Up, and Conceited, tracks that made her a rap heavyweight. With 3 Grammy nominations, she's got the accolades to match her bars. Born and raised in the Bronx, her childhood wasn't easy, but she turned struggle into fire, spitting rhymes so sharp they cut through the noise. But then came July 13, 2007. In the early morning hours, Remy was outside a Manhattan deli when things got heated. She accused an acquaintance of stealing $3,000 from her purse, and the argument escalated fast. In the chaos, she pulled out a gun, fired a shot, and then rummaged through the woman's bag looking for the missing cash. Instead of running, she walked into a police station and turned herself in. Things only got worse a month later when she was accused of orchestrating an attack on the boyfriend of a witness from the shooting. By March 27, 2008, the verdict was in guilty of illegal weapon possession, assault, and attempted coercion. The sentence? 8 years in prison, served at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women in New York. After 6 years behind bars, Remy was released on August 1, 2014. Since then, she's been reclaiming her spot at the top, because if there's one thing about Remy Ma, it's that she always finds a way back up. Lil' Kim's street survival. No list of rap's baddest icons is complete without Kimberly Denise Jones, better known as Lil' Kim, the queen of Brooklyn attitude and hip-hop royalty. Rapper, model, actress, and TV personality, she carved out a name in an industry that rarely made space for women like her. But Kim wasn't handed anything as a teen. She was forced to survive on the streets, hustling until she caught the attention of the notorious B.I.G., who took her under his wing and helped her rise to mainstream fame. By 1996, she dominated the rap scene with her debut album Hardcore, followed by the notorious K.I.M. and La Bella Mafia. She even landed movie roles, starring in films like Those Who Walk in Darkness and superhero movie. But if there's one thing true to Lil' Kim's brand, it's controversy. In March 2005, she was found guilty of perjury and conspiracy, serious charges that carried a possible 20-year sentence. The case stemmed from a 2001 shootout outside Hot 97 Studios, where members of her crew clashed with Capone and Noriega's entourage. When questioned under oath, Kim lied, claiming she didn't know where her co-manager and bodyguard were during the incident. The problem? Surveillance footage told a different story, exposing her deception. By July 2005, the verdict was in 1 year behind bars, a $50,000 fine, and 3 years of probation. She served her time at Federal Detention Center in Philadelphia, proving that even hip-hop royalty isn't above the law. But if there's one thing about Lil' Kim, it's that she never stays down for long. Martha Stewart's insider fall. Martha Stewart, business mogul, TV icon, and the queen of domestic perfection. With her empire spanning best-selling books, TV shows like Martha Stewart Living, 1993-2004, and Martha, 2005-2012, and a brand synonymous with luxury homemaking, she became one of the most powerful women in media. But for all her success, there's a reason she made this list. Martha Stewart was once an inmate. It all started in December 2001 when she received a top-secret stock tip, a heads-up that clone, a pharmaceutical company, was about to tank after failing to secure FDA approval for a cancer drug. Armed with privileged knowledge the public didn't have, Martha dumped her shares before the crash, saving herself from a 16% stock plummet the very next day. But insider trading has a way of catching up with people, and the media went wild. By June 4, 2003, the government filed 9 charges against her, setting the stage for a high-profile trial that had the public hooked. In March 2004, the verdict was in guilty of lying to federal investigators, conspiracy, and obstruction of justice. By July, she was sentenced to 5 months in prison, 2 years of probation, and a $200,000 fine, a slap on the wrist for a woman worth millions. In true Martha fashion, she even tried to handpick her own prison, but ultimately served her time at Alderson Federal Prison Camp, famously known as the cushiest jail in America. She walked free in March 2005, trading herself for house arrest, and proving that even a scandal couldn't keep Martha down for long. Allison Mack's dark descent. For years, Allison Mack was best known as Chloe Sullivan, Superman's loyal sidekick on Smallville. Born in July 1982, she started her career in commercials before landing roles in Seventh Heaven and eventually Smallville, where she became a household name for 9 seasons. But her real-life story took a far darker turn, one that landed her in handcuffs and facing decades behind bars. It all started in 2010 when Mack was recruited into NXIVMA's so-called self-help and executive coaching group that turned out to be a highly secretive, abusive cult. By April 20, 2018, the FBI had had enough. Agents arrested Mack in Brooklyn, charging her with forced labor conspiracy, trafficking conspiracy, and even immigration fraud for arranging a fake marriage. But the most shocking accusation? She branded women with her initials, enslaved them under the guise of empowerment, and manipulated them into submission. By April 2019, Mack pled guilty to racketeering charges, striking a plea deal in a desperate attempt to lessen her sentence. While she was out on bond for a time, there was never any doubt she was headed to prison. The final verdict: 3 years behind bars, a $20,000 fine, and a legacy forever tainted by one of the most disturbing scandals in Hollywood history. Teresa Giudice's fraud fallout. Reality TV royalty Teresa Giudice, best-selling author, Real Housewives of New Jersey star, and a woman who knows how to flip a table, ended up flipping her own life upside down when she and her husband got busted for fraud. On July 29, 2013, Teresa and Joe Giudice were formally charged with bank fraud, mail fraud, and wire fraud, accused of exaggerating their income for loans while hiding assets during bankruptcy filings. To make things worse, Joe also failed to file tax returns from 2004 to 2008, making Uncle Sam very unhappy. The couple cut a plea deal, admitting guilt to 41 charges, and on October 2, 2014, the sentences came down: 15 months for Teresa, 41 months for Joe, and a hefty $414,000 fine. Teresa served her time at Danbury Federal Correctional Institution in Connecticut from January 5, 2015 to December 23, 2015. But the real bombshell: Joe, not a U.S. citizen, was deported after completing his sentence. The message was clear: cheating the system comes at a cost. And with that, another reality TV scandal made its way into the history books.